in the corner, we have the new logo. We're still playing with some stuff, but I thought I'd put it up there. But thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to have a lot of fun. I've got two of my favorite people in the entire world with me today, and we're going to be talking all about events, growing your community in events, all the things that we personally enjoy. We connected and hang out at events, so we're going to be talking about that, but we've got so many other things, and we want this to be all about you, so make sure that you ask your questions down below wherever you're watching from. I mean, Katie is super smart, Paul is super smart, I'm just here to kick the ball back into play, and so we are very, very excited to have them here. So ask your questions, and we've got some people already showing up. Got my good friends watching over on YouTube. Pat Mills is going. Good morning. Good morning to you, Pat. Pat and I have had a great email exchange about this here said logo, and she has been giving me some great feedback. So, Pat, once again, thank you so much for getting in on the email. And by the way, if you do want to get in on the amazing email, you can go to right here, jeffc.com/news. We talk all about cool stuff on the newsletter, and we've got some cool animation stuff going on now where you can go in when I publish a show. I kind of do a little special something in the newsletter. So Paul is the email guy. Paul, how are you doing today, my friend?
Oh, it's a great day. It's a good Friday. Looking forward to the weekend.
Yes. You do some disc golf any, or is it too hot?
Oh no, we're going this weekend. Yeah, we're going to go get a couple rounds in.
Okay, cool. We got Rich Graham saying, yo, homies, over on YouTube. Rich, thank you for stopping by. And Katie, oh my gosh, how's everything in... You say you're from New Hampshire? Is that where you say? Because you're like right on the line.
Literally right on the line. I'm from both Massachusetts and New Hampshire these days. It's great. It's gonna be a hot day. It's supposed to be thunderstorms, but that's okay because I've got some indoor stuff planned. I'm feeling good.
Well, cool. So it's not cool, at least not here in Texas. I'm sorry if you hear that. That is my fan blowing on me because it is boiling hot, even at 10 a.m. in the morning. So I'm going to hit go on the podcast machine, and we will get started. You guys ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. Hello, folks. Welcome to Creator News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Paul Gowder, and this is the show that keeps you up to date with everything that's happening in the world of social media and more.
Have you ever wondered how the right event can turn casual encounters into genuine community? Maybe you're curious about the strategies that make networking feel effortless and productive. If that sounds like your goal, well, today you are in the right place because we are thrilled to welcome a true champion of creator connections. It's Katie Fawkes. She's director of marketing at Ecamm, has helped thousands of video creators step up confidently on camera and build supportive networks through experiences like Creator Camp. So she's here to share her journey, her go-to tactics, and her best advice for meaningful connections. So sit back, clear your schedule, clear your mind, and get ready for this week's episode of Creator News Live. Katie, how are you today?
I'm doing great. It's Friday. I'm having a ball. I get to hang out with you two. It's no complaints.
That's
10
right.
out of 10 over here.
So I have been doing some special things. Once again, if you've been following me on the newsletter, we'll be doing this. So I have a special little intro that we have put together for Katie Fawkes.
It's Katie Fawkes. Hooray! She helps creators find their way. Come together, don't delay. It's Katie Fawkes today.
Alrighty, so that was done, my friends, with the new Midjourney video, and the logo at the very, very end was Ideogram. That was the one that does the logo. So, Katie, once again, thank you for being here.
Oh, a pleasure. And I'm totally, now that you played that, I'm like, well, now I need a show called Katie Fawkes Today.
That's right, exactly.
All right, well, welcome, Katie. Katie is the director of marketing at Ecamm, a leading live streaming and video production software for Mac users. She has a background in content strategy, podcasting, and community building. She's passionate about helping creators confidently show up on camera and grow brands through video. She's the co-host of The Flow, the VHS Club, and maybe a new one coming soon. She hosts multiple live video series and speaks regularly at industry events like topics on one-take video, camera confidence, and creative marketing. So great to have you back, Katie.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. I updated that, so hopefully it sounds good.
It does. It was really
working
good.
my way in.
Very impressed. And by the way, this show is sponsored by our friends at Ecamm. You can find out more by going to ecamm.com/Jeff. You can save up to 15% by using the code Jeff15 on your first purchase. I'm very, very honored that they sponsored the show. They have been sponsoring us from the beginning, but a great community. And we're going to be talking about camp, I'm sure, but we're also going to talk about it a little bit more in depth later on in the show. But we have our good friend Billy Thorpe saying, okay, we need that at Creator Camp every time Katie walks into the room. So we'll be playing your little theme song, and Jim Hughes, he says, nice intro, so very cool, and Pat loves it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to do. So we'll probably have a training on that a little bit later. But we're going to be talking all about creator networking tips today, and especially like event experiences. So, Katie, we have both been at a lot of conferences. We have a ball hanging out. A lot of times you're working, so you don't get to do as much as I'm just lazy and hang out. But I want to talk about, kind of like these big events versus small events, because we've talked about this kind of a little bit offline. So you've experienced both like these massive conferences with thousands of attendees, and then those intimate gatherings of like 50, like, we're big fans of Momentum. But so how did like your time at a large conference, let's say like, Social Media Marketing World, or, Adobe's big conference or whatever, how do they differ for you from a smaller creator event like ConvertKit Craft and Commerce that we just went to, that all of us were there? Like, I know you have value in both formats, so maybe talk about it as a sponsor or a business person, but also like personally the difference between the two.
Yeah, I think it comes down to what your goals are, and the more events, different kinds of events that I do, the more I realize how vastly different the formats are, and how vastly different the experience is going to be that you get out of these. So if you are a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, or just going for yourself, a large conference is going to be a really great opportunity to dive deep into the content, to have your notebook ready. So go to those events if you're looking for an experience where you are learning the content and it feels a little bit like a school or university setting. So pick content, pick speakers that you want to hear from. That is definitely that kind of experience. A small event is really going to give you a lot more of an opportunity to network and get to know other people and spend time with folks. So not that the content doesn't matter as much at a small event, but the people matter a lot more at a small event. So, whether you're going by yourself or you're going with, colleagues or friends, a small event really gives you the opportunity to kind of, maybe if you're a little bit introverted like me, get outside your comfort zone, really get to know people better. It has a lot more of a no man left behind kind of feel. And so it's been interesting. As you said, I've been there, on behalf of Ecamm for most of these kinds of events. A large event, you're going to want to build like a big space, something splashy to catch attention because there's so many people, and you don't get as much of an opportunity to really be able to chat with as many. It's very like short, quick conversations as people are running back and forth through different sessions and trying to, soak in as much content as possible. Whereas a small event, even when we're there on behalf of Ecamm, we have a lot more time to be able to answer people's questions and spend time with people and get to know what their specific pain points are and be able to work collaboratively. So really, really different, and really important as you're thinking about in-person events to figure out like what your goals are so that you go to the right events, because they are not cheap. They're certainly an investment both in your time and financially. Yeah.
They aren't cheap anymore. And travel, it's a hassle. Let's just say it's a hassle. It's no fun getting on a tube of aluminum tube with, I don't know, all those people that, different levels of hygiene. And so you just got to have to suffer through it. So anyway, I get it.
But it's fun once we get there, right?
Right, exactly.
It's fun once you get there. Everyone is always like, oh, it's so fun, Katie. Look at all the great places you're going. I'm like, yes, sexy locations like Boise.
Boise was a lot of fun, really. It really was.
Being awesome, but it is funny. It is work and it is tiring, but there is a lot of magic in it. So worth thinking it through.
Or you could end up like Jeff and I have our hotel with no hot water for several days. So
that was nice.
Okay, you mentioned being an introvert, and for me too, the thing about the conferences is I sometimes get more out of the hallway conversations and the networking part of it. And I've gone to conferences, I'm a little introverted too, and sat in the back of the room and not put myself out there. So what's your advice for the introvert? Like, how can you get the most out of networking when you're really shy and hesitant to do that?
All right. If you are introverted, I have two pieces of advice that it took me a really long time to figure out. The first is, if you are going, if the goal of why you're attending an event is just to learn, forgive yourself and don't bother with the networking. Go and just learn. Invest in being there. Don't feel like you need to be forced into meeting a bunch of different people. That's not the goal of the event. What I would encourage you to do is find some of these smaller events that are going to put you a little bit outside your comfort zone. Events where there are maybe 100 people or less, maybe 50 people is a really great, fit for you, where you don't have the permission to hide. there's no back row at an event like that. And I will say, whether it's Momentum or recently, I just got back from an event called MacStock, which was all Apple and Mac product focused. And so I was out of my element. This was not a group of my people, but I couldn't even go down for breakfast in the morning without people noticing that I had a badge on and being like, "Oh, don't sit by yourself. Come over and sit." So there will be extroverts at that event, and there will be people at that event who are there to make it feel like a community. So I would say, if you're a little nervous about it, give yourself permission to focus on the goals that matter to you. So networking might not be one of them, but if it is, put yourself intentionally into spaces where there isn't an easy out. Because if you're like me, if there's an easy out, you can be like, well, I'm here to learn. And so I'm not going to I'm not going to put myself into this uncomfortable position, because you will make friends and contacts, and you will learn a lot by putting yourself into situations where you are talking with people and spending time with people. And so those small conferences are a great way to do that.
Mm-hmm. So I want to just kind of back and give a little bit of backstory for me. So I've gone to big conferences and small conferences, and I've gotten value from both. Like, social media marketing world is where I remember I drove across country. This is before I had any sort of channel or a podcast or anything. And I drove there and I met people like Ian Anderson Gray, a bunch of Peg Fitzpatrick, people who I had met online but never had talked to. But there is nothing that has boosted my business more than events and masterminds. So if you get a thorough through line, it's the people. People have what is, and relationships as what's build my business. And then momentum. If you look at my show, I mean, Paul's here, Connor is on the show a lot, Lou's on here. And I had a bunch of business from that. I mean, Paul and I run a mastermind together, and all that business came from going to a conference and meeting people and connecting. So yes, it is, like you were saying, you have to get outside of your comfort zone. But to me, that's where things happen. You can't keep the status quo or you'll never grow. And it's hard. And believe it or not, I'm kind of like Paul and Katie. I'm more of a, ambivert. I mean, I love speaking. I love getting to this conference, but I am wiped out. Afterwards, I'm I need a week of recovery, right? And a lot of people are like that. But you have to put yourself in that spot that's a little uncomfortable if you want to grow. And it's hard to hear and it's hard to do, but you're right, Katie. It makes a huge difference. So I want to go back to kind of I don't know if I'd call it small or whatever, but it's kind of a medium conference. It didn't feel small, but it was Craft and Commerce that we all went to. So great speakers. So it was kind of a mix of really good learning and then the intimate things where we could go around. I mean, Paul and I walked the streets of Boise and went to a bunch of cool different restaurants and Fujin's, and went out with us to eat dinner from Ecamm. We had a great time. So there's that mix of learning and also networking. So what were your big takeaways? I want to hear from both Paul and Katie on going to an event like Craft and Commerce. Katie, you go first.
Awesome. Yes. No, just kidding. I really loved this event because I think it blended the two styles really nicely. And what was really special for me at this particular event was that we intentionally figured out who was going to be there, who we were inviting to bring with us, and what our goal was for the event. So Ecamm was there, and my team was there. We brought Fulgens with us. We were there to build out an Ecamm experience at Kit Studios, which is a really cool off-site space that Kit, who run this event, have built out. So we were part of the event, but a little bit removed from it. But there were people going back and forth and kind of having that experience alongside the sessions and the content itself. What I think Kit does really nicely with this particular event is they've given a lot of time and space for people to spend time together. So they have like pretty long lunch breaks. They don't do evening programming. Or if they do, it's like it's limited. So you have time to go out for dinner with each other. You have time to go out for lunch with each other. It's in Boise, which we all ended up loving, but what's cool about it is it's not in this giant city. There's not like a ton of other distractions. So everyone that's there is intentionally there like for the event. And if they're doing Boise things, it's like spending time together with people that they're, meeting up with in Boise. It's not like it's no offense to Boise. It's not like it's like this giant destination place where people are like, oh, well, I'm going to go, off to like Disney World, or I'm going to do these other things, and kind of remove themselves from the event. But I think what was cool about that one was that it was big, but it had, time for smaller groups to meet up. So like if you planned a little bit intentionally, you could figure out who was there, and you were able to have some of those connections. Like I wasn't definitely not going to be able to meet everyone and talk with everyone, but I knew that like you all were going to be there. I knew who the Ecamm people were going to be. I knew the other businesses and some of their some of their people who were going to be there. So I was able to kind of plan out what my experience was in advance. And then again, be like, okay, that I wasn't going to be able to do everything. I didn't get to see all the different sessions, but the experience that I got out of it was really valuable to me because again, it was spending time with the different people.
Yeah. By the way, this is kind of like that ghost in the mirror. When you say it's named 3 times, they show up. And so Lou Mangello, so he goes, 2 of my favorite people and Jeff. So thanks for that, buddy. Paul, it wasn't big, but it did have a lot of spaces where we could go and do stuff. So what were your takeaways from an event like the Craft and Commerce? And what would you tell somebody who's a little hesitant to go because they feel like they're, like Katie was saying, really introverted, really scared about meeting new people? The cool thing is once you start doing this and you go to the same conferences, you kind of know people there. Like, oh, Paul's going to be there, so I'll go, and it's a little easier. But
you
like
can first people too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Paul, what do you feel like? What would you tell somebody who's going for the first time to an event like Craft and Commerce?
Yeah, it does help to have your network of friends. And so like whether we're at PodFest or Craft and Commerce, it is really nice to kind of have that support system. For me, Craft and Commerce, I went into it. I looked at, there was a nice app that on Mighty Networks where you could kind of see who was speaking, who was going to be there. And so I actually made a list of the people I wanted to have some face-to-face time with. So there were a couple of other creators I wanted to make sure that I actually introduced myself to. There were some people from Kit that I wanted to meet, so I went and did that. And some of the vendors too, not just hanging out with the Ecamm group, but like I went and spent some time with Segmetrics, and now I'm working with them to really identify some things in my funnels and all that stuff. So that was kind of my goal, is to find those connections, and it really was a great place. They do a good job of, like Katie said, letting you have time to meet and mingle and network. So I really like that, and the keynotes were fantastic. Pat Flynn's keynote was incredible to see in person. Yeah,
I thought the same thing. It was it was the stuff he said, and then we'll talk about Card Party because I know Katie went to that, which is another big event. Like that was probably bigger than even Social Media Marketing World. But speaking of Social Media Marketing World, I know you weren't in it this last year, but you've been in it before. I've been in it. I went back for this year for the first time, I think, in like 4 or 5 years. But as somebody who like goes to a lot of industry events, and I know Paul does this too, what do you think that like these big conferences offer creators and marketers that's unique that maybe some of the smaller ones? I know you can kind of get lost in the crowd, and you mentioned talking. I mean, a learning experience more than anything else. But I still was able to go and make a core kind of friendships just by talking with people like next to me in the seat or whatever. But do you think there are some things that big conferences offer you that the smaller ones can't?
I mean, I think for me, the bigger conferences really do have more of an opportunity to get to see the people who are the the players in whatever industry you're going to, right? So like a larger conference is going to pull in bigger names, right? Like a Pat Flynn, for example, or even some celebrities. And so it's a mix of kind of the ability to really like learn the topics in a way that maybe is a little bit less distracting than online. And also they do, if it's a good large conference, they do offer a lot of these kinds of opportunities to be able to meet people in a really defined space. So they'll do like, networking sessions or table talks or, workshops or things that do take a large group and make them into a smaller group. So there is opportunity there to meet people and be able to to actually get to know them a little bit better. I think that like the special things outside of learning that I've gotten from large events is when I've done a decent amount of planning in advance and said like, oh, it's social media marketing world. I can see that, Ian and Stephanie and like a whole bunch of these people who I watch online and admire, and I would love to get to know them better, want to be friends with them. They're going to be at this event. So if I can get into their inbox before the event and set aside some time or let them know that I'm going to be there, it's an opportunity to kind of start networking before you get to the event, because that is where, they're there for the time of the event itself. If they're speaking, let them know, and then you can wait around, until the end to be able to chat with them and get a little bit in front of them, because then you're not going to get as much time with those people, even the people that that are not speaking at an event like that. But if you plan ahead and schedule some time with them early and then be able to follow up on the other side, that's going to continue to build that relationship online later once you're home. So whether that's, grabbing a quick coffee or lunch, or, or even just waiting around until after a session and chatting with them a little bit there, or taking them with you to the next session that they're going to. I think you have to be a lot more intentional at a large event of who you want to spend time with and what those blocks of time are, because it's just, there's so much going on, and there's so much to learn. So it's a matter of being, I think, really careful with what you want to do with your time and being respectful of other people's time as well. So, figuring out who those 3 people are that you want to be able to meet up with. Right.
One of the things that I know as we were coming up with speaking is we would go in, like, if Paul's speaking, I'm going to go to his session because I want to support him.
Exactly.
If Katie's speaking, I want to go to her session. And there's like this little group that would go around and like support each other. And the thing is you can do that even if you're, you're kind of going there for the first time, because I'm telling you, as a speaker, you notice somebody who's in your event. Like if you speak more than once, or if you're on a panel and then you do a session, you notice those people. And if you come up and talk to me afterwards, I'm going to mostly remember you because we'll have a conversation. So if you're wanting, there's a line about being stalkerish versus, just being supporting somebody. Be stalker. But that does make a big difference. And speakers do notice who's in the audience, especially if you're there multiple times. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think too, it makes it easier if you're connecting afterwards on like a LinkedIn, for example.
Right.
That's a much easier, less slimy, message to like, I'd love to connect with you. I saw you speak at blah, blah, blah event. It was, really important to me. Here are the things that I loved about that. Thanks. Or I found that even, when I'm at an event, and this is regardless of the size of event, but if you post on social media, either during the event or right afterwards, like your key takeaways, things that you loved, etc., and you tag those speakers, even if you're not connected to them, they see that, they know that you've been to the session because you're sharing either photos or takeaways or video content. They're much more likely to pay attention to you and to want to connect with you and to chat with you down the road. You can't do that with everyone, and nor should you. You shouldn't spam or be stalkerish, but pick a few people who you respect and who you want to get to know a little bit better. And I think it does require that level of kind of being a little strategic, which I know sounds creepy when it comes to networking, but I think you need to be a little strategic about your networking.
Yeah. I totally get.
Well, let's shift now from a big conference like Social Media Marketing World. Let's talk about a smaller one. Lou's in the comments there. Let's talk about something like Momentum, where it's a 50-person max, one room, and it's not even maybe not a conference, or more of a workshop, but we're all in the same room. So, what kind of draws you to that, Katie? And what do you think people can get out of something like a different kind of event like that one?
Oh my gosh. I love Momentum. Lou, cover your ears so that you don't feel embarrassed
Oh
by
my
all that.
gosh,
But this is, I mean,
we'll never hear
this
the
is
end of
one
it.
of my all-time favorite events. I have been singing its praises since I went. I had no idea what to expect actually going into Momentum. Jeff had talked about it for a long time. I obviously, Lou has been an Ecamm customer for a while. I have seen his shows. I have been like in his sphere, but I don't think I fully appreciated until I went to Momentum the difference between really like a small mastermind type event experience and these sort of larger conferences. And what I found really special about Momentum and what I continue to love about that event is that it feels immediately inclusive. And so if you don't have a group of people, find an event like this that is in a topic or an industry that matters to you or that you want to be in or that you're in, and attend. Because at an event like that, there were people right from, I think it was Jennifer, right when I first got there, was like, "Oh, hey, Katie." She recognized me from my photo on the website. She immediately invited me out for dinner with them that evening with the group that was there that had been often. There was at no point did I feel like I was not welcomed at the table, at meals, in the sessions. I, Lou, I just really like, again, as someone I can be a little bit standoffish sometimes in that I'm like worried that I'm going to be bothering people or that I won't know the right thing to say or that people don't want to talk to me or they want to focus and learn. And an event like that just doesn't allow you to be anything but all in.
You're right.
Lou does this thing that I hate. I still hate it, even though I love
Yeah.
it. I hate it. He makes you stand up and say like who you are and why you're going to be there. And I'm on video all the time. And the idea of standing up, and even after I stood up and said that, everyone else was saying, why they were there. And I was like, oh, that's better. That's
I'm
so
stealing
like,
that. Yeah.
I'm stealing that. But I think like small events offer both the people that are there as well as the people who are creating the event the opportunity to make a much more friendly, welcoming experience than a large event is able to. So Momentum is a great example of this where everyone is there to learn from each other. The connections run deep and the connections stay long after the event wraps. So great job, Lou. I think you did a
Yes.
really
Oh my
amazing job with
gosh.
that
We'll
event.
never hear the end of it. And so even
Don't
even
say it's
Chad
good
has
enough.
even Chad has drunk the Kool-Aid. Chad is a great guy who's a Momentum. He goes, "Love Momentum and looking forward to seeing you all again." It's summer camp coming home a lot of times for some of these.
Yeah.
The question is, Katie, you kind of brought it up because you're like what Lou does and makes you that one point where it's kind of uncomfortable. I've seen this kind of trend, and we'll talk about this when we get to the kind of the trends of events, but a lot of them are straddling the line, and Lou does this masterfully where it's not something that's going to make you break down in tears and run out. Like, it's not like, even if you're an introvert, it's not like you're in a spotlight and you have to go up on stage and like write on the board, like solve math equations or something like that. But there are some, I've seen smaller conferences that are almost making it feel like Squid Games. Like, you've got to do all these things and it's a competition. And I'm like, because like if I'm an introvert, there's no way that if I hear that there's like a competition that I'm going to go, because I want to go and maybe go out of my comfort zone a little bit. I don't want to go. So have you seen that too? Have you noticed that too a little bit about some of like the smaller conferences that are making it like really like, you were camping on a beach and there's only one thing of water and like, you have to fight to the death. I'm like, I don't know about that kind of event.
Yeah. I mean, I am actually a little bit guilty of this. Creator Camp last year, one of the pieces of feedback that I really took to heart and it certainly wasn't our intention to create this experience, but we did make it a little bit more competitive between our cabin groups, and we have like really fun, awesome prizes. So people were like all in, and it did get a little bit out of control in the competitiveness. And I do think that you're right. That creates kind of an experience where it might not feel as like welcoming and fun for certain people as we had planned to do it. So I think you're right. I think we're all trying to build, if you're in events at all, and especially if you're planning or building an event of your own, we're all trying to create some kind of experience for people that is, memorable and makes them want to like both have a great time and tell friends and come back again. Right. So I think it's a fine line to walk between what Lou does brilliantly, which is like getting people to kind of come out of their shells and get people to get to know each other better. And you could easily get into a space where, that goes off the rails and you create, a bad experience for it. So it is a fine line. And I think it's tricky for a lot of us to figure out how to position an event and what the experience is going to be like, and then follow through on that all the way to the end. So.
And I was actually, I did it like my talk like 5 times again, and I did, so I didn't see all of it, but I didn't get that feeling. So don't beat yourself up too much about that. No, I thought most people had a great time, and there was competition, but it was more like camp competition. It wasn't like, Survivor. Even though Liz was there, we didn't vote anybody out of camp.
No, I'm not bothered by the feedback. I think it was great feedback, and we have a bunch of fun changes coming to Creator Camp this year as a result of it. But I do think it is funny because the group of people that attend our event are super competitive, and so it's like even a little thing goes off into a big thing. So it's just something to keep, it's something to keep an eye on. And I think it is a unique challenge for small events, is that you want it to be this really, incredible, memorable experience, but you are pulling together a small group of people, and who you're empowering them to have, a little bit more involvement in your event than a large event. Right. So,
and Luria's cabin always cheats too, by the way. They always there's cheat. So anyway, good, Paul.
Yeah, so I'm coming to Creator Camp for the first time this year. Jeff, heard him talk about it for a long time, and kind of described to me as momentum-esque, with a little bit more, a little bit bigger, and a little bit more breakout sessions and different speakers. So tell us, a little bit more about Creator Camp. What kind of inspired you guys to do it this way, and what do you want attendees to take away, or what are they going to get in terms of their skills, their community, and all of that?
Oh my gosh! Well, so Creator Camp started, and props to Doc, because he really was the brainchild of this endeavor. But Doc and I had been going out to all of these different large events like Social Media Marketing World years back, and we, because Ecamm has such a robust community, everyone was wanted to know where we were, wanted us to do these kinds of meetups. So they wanted an opportunity to actually see each other in real life, spend time together, particularly on the other side of the pandemic, when people had been locked up and not able to see each other in real life. And so we had done a couple of these kinds of events with a really good level of success. We had done these events where we had some workshop elements, a lot of just spending time together, good food, good drinks, and lots of laughs and silliness. And so we were like, I think we could actually, instead of just going to these events and doing these kinds of pop-ups alongside them, we could just create our own event. But we have this really fun community. We're in a really fun space. I mean, video in general allows for a lot of creativity and personality. And so the more we talked about it, the more we're like, we just really want it to feel like camp, like this excitement and fun of you're going somewhere where you're going to have fun. You're getting away from everything for a bit. You're going to learn and have some ideas of mentorship. That was really important to us, that it wasn't us talking about these topics. It was people within the community were giving their feedback, and we're sharing their knowledge. And so the idea of camp counselors, and the idea of learning from each other and workshop driven, but having this campy, for lack of a better word, theme throughout the entire thing kind of spawned. And so we're about to go into year 3. It does look a little bit different this year based on some great feedback that we got from the last couple of years. But the concept is the same, is that we really want people to understand that we're all in this really creative, incredible space. We have tons of opportunities to be able to bring content to life, connect with people, spend time with people. And we can learn from each other. So, someone who's brand new can teach something to someone who has been at it for years, and people who are in all different industries have all different perspectives to give. So we are going to take people this year through the journey of video creation, from planning and storyboarding all the way through to marketing. But we are Hogwarts style, splitting people up into different personalities. And so we have a fun quiz to take to really understand how you approach the concept of creating content, whether you're a planner, a presenter, or a producer. And all that is going to do is really give you a good lane to be in as you approach the event. So, and our counselors this year are representations of those categories. And so you're going to learn from some amazing people, but you're also going to see real world examples from people that you can directly relate to. So how someone like me, I'm much more of a presenter. And so how I approach planning is going to look really different than how a planner approaches planning. And how I approach marketing is going to look really different than a producer, right? So like a producer is going to love all of the editing, and I'm like, absolutely not. So we're going to go on this journey together over 3 days. We have all kinds of fun and silliness along the way, but the idea is that none of this is one size fits all. No one is doing it wrong. No one is doing it 100% right either. And we're all going to learn from each other, and we're going to get some great examples along the way. So I think it's going to be a blast. We have some fun things up our sleeve, and hopefully you'll leave, Paul, feeling as excited as other events that you go to.
So even Mr. Lumagello says he is so excited for.
We finally talked Lou into coming too. Paul and Lou. I'm winning.
Yeah. So by the way, she mentioned a bunch of, there's a lot of different personalities in Creator Camp, and so we've got this really quick video to show you some of those personalities for you.
Guess what time it is?
Jeff C. here.
Hey, everybody.
I'm Phil.
It's Laura Clapp Davidson.
Ken here.
Liz Wilcox.
I'm Caleb.
It's Katie.
It's Paul.
Anna here.
Brandon Washington.
It is time for Creator Camp.
Creator Camp.
Creator Camp.
Creator Camp.
Creator Camp 2025. 2025.
It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be so much fun.
This will be my third time going.
Learn together.
Lots of things to do.
I love being inspired by others.
Creative energy.
Lots of things to see.
And make new friends.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
You haven't got your ticket yet. Get your ticket.
Make sure you get your tickets.
What are you waiting for?
Because tickets are like this many left.
Creator Camp.
It's really, really awesome.
You'll be like, oh, I wish I had came to camp.
You're going to leave with new skills, new ideas.
Learning all kinds of new stuff.
Unlike any other creator event.
And I cannot wait to see you.
Can't wait to hang out with you guys.
Now, if you've already been to camp.
You know what you think you're expecting? It's going to be different this time.
And if this is your first time.
Welcome to Creator Camp. Welcome to Ecamm fam.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
So excited.
It's truly incredible.
Are you excited?
This is the place to show up, connect, get inspired.
To leave with great memories.
I'm so excited.
I've leveled up my entire workflow
with new friends.
and built connections that have made a real difference.
And everything you need.
Ready to take my content creation to the next level.
I'm so excited to hang out with you.
I'm more excited than a toddler with a Sharpie.
My favorite part of the year.
I am so excited.
And I'm excited to see you there.
It's in a new location.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Portsmouth.
Let's go.
The sessions, the surprises.
I'll be behind the lens, capturing every single awesome moment.
An experience of a lifetime.
It's going to be amazing.
I want to see you there.
So show up ready to learn.
We're going to talk about tech
And networking with people. I'll see you there.
I cannot wait to see you.
I can't wait to see you.
And I will see you.
And I can't wait to see you at Creator Camp.
I will see you at Creator Camp.
I'll see you there. I cannot wait to see you there.
And I can't wait to see you at Creator Camp.
I can't wait to see you.
Bye.
See you there.
So very, very cool. If you guys want to find out more about that, I think there's, that's the wrong one. A couple of tickets left at ecamm.com/camp. You can find out all about it there. If you noticed on there, I actually shot that at Kit Studios. They have some really cool things and Boise. So if you noticed, there were some cameos there of Mr. Paul and Lou. I don't know, they snuck in or whatever, but they were there. That was a lot of fun to shoot. So as you can tell, we're very excited about it. It's always so much fun. So ecamm.com/camp. How many tickets are left, Katie? Not many.
I think you were at 18, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And so they're gone, folks. So you need to go and sign up because it really is fun. It's a blast. So Creator Camp, we would love to see you there. By the way, you can find out more about Ecamm at ecamm.com/Jeff. I didn't mean to hit that button, but I did. Let me see. There we go. Okay. We're going to talk now about, we kind of touched on what to do at a conference and why the bigger or smaller conferences are better or worse or what you get from each one of them. But I want to talk about, networking is such a business term and it sounds sleazy. So I like to say community building or relationship building. But it says studies show that 52% of event attendees say that networking or relating with people is a top reason that they invest time in conferences. So in your experience, why is this in-person networking so powerful for creators and marketers, people trying to grow their business? So how have those relationships you've built, Katie, impacted your career or your collaborations that you've done for your business?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's all of it. it's all, thanks to the people that I know and and the relationships that I've built with them. I mean, really, I would not have a job at Ecamm had it not been for the relationship that hilariously my husband really built with Ken first. And, and I think it really comes down to, I know it's probably cliched for a lot of people who are in the marketing space, but if you're not, it comes down to, we buy from people we know, like, and trust, right? And so we also recommend based on people we know, like, and trust. So the idea of getting a job, getting a client, selling a service, selling a product, you are way more likely to get a foot in the door and to actually get to that yes based on the relationships that you have. And so I've just been incredibly lucky in that the people that I've met, that I've been introduced to, have introduced me to more people that they know and like and trust, and my network has built as a result of that. But these are people that, like, I know I can get on a call with anyone that's within, my community, and they would do anything for me in the same way that I would do anything for them. And so, these are the people that I'm immediately thinking of when I have, projects that I need, when I hear that, like, a company is looking for XX role. Like, these are the people that I go to. And likewise, when I need something, I am the person that people are recommending to be, in podcast interviews, to be on stages. When people are like, oh, I really want to get into video production and podcasting, Ecamm is recommended because of the relationships that I've built, because of the relationships that Ken and Glenn have built, that a doc has built. Like, it really makes a huge, huge difference. It is no small thing. It is,
Right.
I would say, 90% of how business is done is in the actual people, and not in any of the glitzy marketing or any of the sales or advertising or any of that. It comes down to the people.
Right. One of the things I just finished reading, Sahi Bloom's, I think that's his name, his 5 Types of Wealth. And one of the things he really talks about is the social relationships and the relationships you have, and how we don't consider that a type of wealth, but we really need to. And I've really taken that to heart. And one of the things is, it always blows my mind, is we have these almost life-changing moments, or like people go to camp, Creator Camp or Momentum, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't ever want this to end. It's almost like that summer camp thing, like, oh, I have to go home kind of thing. But the thing is a lot of people don't. I mean, I'm in a mastermind with Eric Fisher and Anthony Witt that I formed when I went to Social Media Marketing World for the first time. So it's over 10 years we've been meeting every Monday together because of that. And so, and then, like, with Paul and Momentum, like the group we have is a lot of the Momentum attendees and people we've met, like Jim Fuse. I hang out with conferences at him before. And so I think the one thing that people don't realize is you can form a mastermind from the people that you meet at events, and you can continue it. Like, I remember when in Longview, Texas is where I'm from, there aren't a lot of people who do what I do. Like, it can feel really, really lonely, right? Like, and Paul, like, you're running this huge thing, but there's probably a lot of people that you can go talk about this, like, in your PTA or, whatever. So I think it's really important for this, and you can form these relationships from these events. I have, and there's no reason why you can't. So, Paul, I want you to talk about, like, what are some of the amazing things and connections you've made at events, like, have impacted your career or collaborations that you've done?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, having that network of people, not just that are supportive of me when I'm at an event and make me feel a little more comfortable, but then when I get back, those are, I was thinking about while Katie was talking, these are people, like she said, like you buy from. So when I need a service, like Connor has done writing for me before. Tim Begonia that I met at Momentum has done some graphics for me. So not only are we supporting each other with, getting on calls or whatever, but these are people that I trust with my business. So yeah, it is, that's huge. But then also, even, these, I was saying, I sought out several people at Craft and Commerce, and, I've already, one of those people has already helped me get a sponsorship that was a pretty good size one. And I'm working with the Segmetrics people, and they're giving me some feedback. I'm doing some stuff with Mighty Networks, so yeah, these relationships are really important. But, even on the smaller, we think smaller, but the things that really, really make an impact are having people like you and Connor and Lou that at any time I can just call you guys and ask a question, bounce an idea off. That is big because here in Lexington, South Carolina, there aren't a lot of people in this space, so it's really great to have other people that know what I do, and I can ask questions. And so these relationships are so important, and conferences are a great place to find those people.
In fact, this once again, his head's gonna get so big, but like Lou actually out of the blue just sent me a message because he's on a plane. He says, "Hey, I have this great idea about a AI course that you could do via email," and he kind of broke it down for me. Like, that's just amazing that your friends are even thinking about your business. They don't have to, but because you have this relationship, they know you, they know what you're working on, and they can help you create new things. So I tell you, those things are worth their weight in gold, and that's what's important about, my opinion, life is the relationships you make along the way. We've got some great comments I want to pull up really quick. Like Pat says, "I love attending conferences and events for networking, meeting people, and building relationships, but I would rather be online at home to listen to speakers and learn new things, no distractions." Yeah. A lot of people feel that way. In fact, I love it when I get recordings of the sessions that I go to because I usually can't write notes fast enough for processing, or sometimes I skip it because I want to talk to Katie and Paul in the hallway more than I want to go see some new widget that's been, but I want to know about it, but I'd rather spend time with the people around me. Well, so that's very important.
That's actually a great comment. So we've been going to all these different events, and then as we were planning out Creator Camp, one of the things that Ken, our co-founder, said to me, he's like, just keep in mind that anyone that goes to these events, like, they have YouTube. At any point, they can go online and learn about all of these things. They can search any of these topics. They can sit and watch all these videos. They have the ability to learn these things at home. So what makes an event special and memorable are the experiences that they are having face-to-face with other people. So either the content that you are creating at your event is not available online, or is some kind of experience that's only in person, or you're creating and facilitating the ability for people to get to know each other better and spend time together. Right. Otherwise, there's no point for people to go. Like, what makes in-person events still so popular on the other side of a pandemic is that people want to have a face-to-face connection with folks. Like, they really do want to be able to spend time together, even if they are introverted and at the end of the day they're exhausted. They still we still crave that level of connection and understanding and relatability, and it matters to be face-to-face. Otherwise, we could just get absolutely everything online, and that might be the best way to actually learn a lot of that stuff. I think that point is totally valid. Maybe it's way easier in person, online, to be able to just watch those videos and learn that, pause them, get what you need to out of it. And then events for you might be just going to be able to actually have those experiences.
Yeah. And I think that with the rise of AI, being able to pull content like that we want to learn from, like I just use Perplexity just to figure out stuff that I think that's great. We're going to have all this information, but we really need these human connections. And like I said, you can go to a conference and, meet the people. You don't have to say goodbye to them. You can jump on a Zoom call next Tuesday when you get back if you want, because a lot of times keeping that rolling is where the benefit really comes into play. So I want to talk about some really practical things, because you have mentioned this many times, but you said the best part of any event is the people. Spending time with colleagues, customers, friends is kind of all of our favorite part of the conferences. So meeting new people, and this is really important for us to hear as well, because like I'll go to a conference and Paul and Katie and Lou will be there, and I'll want to like, hey, let's go get dinner. And it's really easy to exclude people. Like, no more friends. We're good. But that's not good. So how do you approach meeting new people and building relationships when you're at an event? Like, let's get really practical for people who may be that really uncomfortable. Like and some people scrape together, like, it's not cheap to go to these things. So you have to pick the right conference that you really have to think about what's going to be the best for you and your business. But then once you have, what are some really practical ways to meet other people? I'll go first. Mine is, I like to look at when I'm like in the momentum and there's some new people there. If you look on the fringes who aren't like engaging, if you go over there and engage, one, you'll have a friend for life, usually, because they feel really awkward going. And I've been in those situations where you don't know anybody. And then you can just even ask, like, where are you from? How do you, and just continue the conversation, and then have those touch points when you're walking the hallways. You have somebody you can wave to, and like, what'd you think? Was that a good session? You know, but do that initial. Okay, who's on the fringes with me? Who can I talk to? Katie, what's your advice?
Okay, I have 3.
Okay, wow.
The first, yeah, I know. Sorry, I'm that person. The Keener. The first thing that I found benefit in was if you are more introverted or a little bit nervous about going up and introducing yourself to people, bring an extroverted or more vocal person that either knows people at the event or feels more comfy, etc. Like the first few events I went to, I went with Doc, who knew everyone.
He knows everyone.
And like, and was like, and I told him, like, I'm not great. I'm not good at this. I need for you to put me out of my comfort zone. Like, I need for you to be you and walk me up to people and introduce me. And that made a huge difference. The second was that I now leverage all of my, email, social media, etc. And I just say, I'm going to be at this event. I want to meet you. And it never ceases to amaze me, the people who never have posted any kind of comments on my platform, or I don't even know are following me.
Right.
Like, you end up like being at the event. They may not even reply back to my comment, but I've had people who have come up to me at events and been like, oh, I'm so happy that you're here. Like, I'm, so-and-so, I follow you, etc. You might not know who is watching you, or who, like, a friend of a friend is watching you. So put it out there that you're going to be there and that you want to meet people. Put it out there. Just be really public and put it out there. So even if you're not feeling comfortable, have other people come up to you.
Right. Yeah.
I'm excited to meet you. And then the third one that I like, maybe is like a really simplistic thing, but I often will think in my head, like, there'll be someone that walks by and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, he has the coolest shoes, or she's got awesome hair, or like, I'm people watching. I'm just standing there being like, oh, that I now will just walk up to them and say it. I in my mind, I'm having a small breakdown, but I just walk up. No one is upset that you've gone up to them and said that you like their bag or that you think whatever. And it starts a conversation. Nothing might come of it. They might just say, oh, thank you, and then continue walking. No worries. You've gotten a little bit more comfortable with it. And it's just such an easy thing to do. And I'm sure that, especially at like a larger event, there are people that like have something that you think is cool. Whether they're like holding something, using something, talking, like, doesn't matter. Go up to them and tell them something that you think is cool about them. Whether you don't even have to introduce yourself. You can literally just say, I think your shoes are cool shoes, whatever.
Right.
It goes a long way and made me feel a little bit more comfortable in starting some of those conversations in a way that felt less, gave them control and made them feel special as well, which I think goes a long way.
Yeah. Or you can grow a beard. That's what I did.
Yeah, awesome
it's
beard.
So funny.
I love that beard.
In the elevator, it's really funny. I've had so many drunk women at a conference come up and they want to touch it, and that's when I go, yeah, you can touch it, and they reach for it, and I go at them, and they fall over. It is the most hilarious thing. So if you're in the elevator with me, that's what we'll do. Paul, what about you? What are some of your because Paul, if you guys don't know, he streams powwows across the country live.
He's a big deal.
He's a big deal. He's got 1 million member Facebook group. Like, he is the bomb. But Paul, because you go to these events a lot, big events, like powwows are not small. What are some of your tips for meeting new people, introducing yourself, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and I am not good at this. I have to force myself to go and talk with people. I don't like doing that. So one of the things that has helped is, I think y'all mentioned it, is having a wingman or having somebody in your circle that you're with. I was, at PodFest this year, I grabbed Lou and said, Lou, take me and introduce me to this person. And so that helped. But I also, like I mentioned earlier, I sit down beforehand and make a list of some of the things I want to go and do, some of the people I want to. And so I will, then I can challenge myself. And I say, like, I know that I'm going to go and talk to Chanel that does the Growth in Reverse podcast. And here's what I'm going to ask her. And I'm going to, so I do that ahead of time. But then the other thing, Katie, talking about wearing, mentioning people's stuff. My Roosevelt shirts, I don't have a Disney Roosevelt on today. I've got a different Roosevelt on today. But having, like, wearing Disney ones, it helps put myself out there. And Disney is one of those things that everybody will talk to you about. And so that's one of those things that people will start a conversation with me, and it helps, just get that conversation going is we can talk Disney, we can relate to that. And, or if I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt, I'll get comments about that too. So that's one of the things one of the reasons I wear those shirts, besides the fact that they're just cool shirts, but it does kind of make me put myself out there and be a little more visible.
I love that. Make yourself memorable and approachable. Yeah.
To be honest, that's why I did grow the beard, because I knew, like Jay Bear, he's got the crazy suits that he wears for when he does his speaking events. Phil Gerbershank has the white glasses. Dustin Stout, I don't know if he still does it, but he used to wear a red V-neck that he'd go wear to every conference. And so I'm like, well, I guess I got to do something. So now I can't ever shave, which is the thing. But anyway, so I want to kind of talk now about some trends that we're seeing in this last kind of questions. That a lot of people want more meaningful connections. They prefer like peer meetups over old like school speed networking, dating kind of thing. So as an event organizer, what other examples do you know of that you've seen that do it really well? We mentioned Momentum. Creator Camp does it really well. I know Justin Moore did his, it was sponsor games. He did one where it was like kind of the competition we talked about. Mm-hmm. So are there any other cool things that you've seen in the event space for people who really want to connect and not just learn, but actually connect with their peers?
I wouldn't sleep on some of these like very niche or like, I hesitate to say industry specific spaces, but I'm a huge book nerd. I like absolutely live and die in reading, and I read a lot and spend a ton of time with books. And it's been really interesting to watch what's happening in the book space, in the Bookstagram and Book Talk and all of these spaces with readers, specific to events, because there have been a ton of people who have been incredibly successful in building these like weekend long or week long book retreats where they have figured out that there is an audience of people who just want an excuse to get away and read a book. And they like many of them are even marketed as like, you won't even you don't even have to spend time with other people. Like other people will be there reading, but you don't even have to talk to them. Like everyone is reading, and they do like yoga together and they do all these things together. It's a great example of the power of kind of finding your people and finding a niche. And so whether that's, Disney, whether that's reading, whether that's, whatever, your hobby or your thing is, I think that there's some really cool things happening in some of these spaces where people are just finding ways to spend time together in more kind of authentic, away from all of the digital noise and the screens and all of the, their day-to-day commitments, to be able to just enjoy each other's time and enjoy things that they have in common. I do a scrapbooking retreat once a year where we go away for 3 days and we just get to scrapbook all day and hang out with people, and we don't have to clean anything up. We keep everything out. And they're like, but there's, it's an instance of finding your people and getting to like work collaboratively on a project that we all care about, everyone that's there. So I think I'm sure that there are, in every single one of these niches, there's a cool movement, it seems like, that's happening now where we're maybe more in the kind of retreat space of events as a getaway and an opportunity to recharge and be, spend time together and be with your people, be with people who have, you have a ton of stuff in common with, which I think is really cool and I'm super excited for.
Yeah. One of the things I will say, go ahead, Paul.
I was gonna say, that's one of the things I really liked about Craft and Commerce is in their app, they let individual participants kind of make their own meetup. So there was, a book meetup. There was somebody organized a hike. So if you wanted to kind of find your people, that was a really easy way to do it. And you could go to these topic-based meetups, and it's an easier way to put yourself out there as opposed to, being in a crowd of 500 and trying to find somebody to talk to.
Yeah. One of the things, I'll go back to the book, The 5 Types of Wealth, that I read, was that I don't think, for me, as I get older, it's just not, cash flow is important. Don't get me wrong. We got to make money. But you also have to find your people. And the other thing is when you find your people, you have to nurture it. You have to keep it up. It's not something that you can just like let people come to me. You have to work at it. It's something you have to work at. But oh my gosh, it is so fulfilling, and it makes your business bloom because you're just not... It's the water that makes your business grow, is what I think is relationships is, because when people know what you're doing and your struggles and can help you, and you could do business with them. I mean, Paul and I run a paid mastermind because of a conference we went to. We enjoy each other's company. We understand each other's business, and we help each other grow. And that, we do that on Monday and Fridays are my favorite days of the week because I get to do this show, and then Monday we have our mastermind, and it's just a great group of people in there. So seriously, folks, if you're not a part, if you can find a conference like Camp or Momentum or whatever, you need to go to it and really work on finding your people and then nurture those relationships because, oh my gosh, it makes life so much more worth living. And by that worth living, we're at the end of time. Katie Fawkes, you have been amazing as always. Tell people where people can find you. Tell them about camp, all the things that is Katie Fawkes.
Well, you can find me under all things Ecamm, ECAMM, all of the socials. If you want to learn more about camp, you can email me directly, katie@ecamm.com, or you can swing over to ecamm.com/camp, ECAMM.com/camp. If you want to hang out with me personally, I do a 80s and 90s movie review podcast on Thursday nights called the VHS Club Podcast. You can find me there at the VHSClubPod.com. And I'm a weird and wonderful person over on Instagram. You can find me under Canadian Fawkes, Fawkes. I'd love to hang out more. And I'm all in on the crazy hobbies. So I'm in on crocheting and chicken keeping and duck keeping and traveling and photography and everything in between. So
yeah,
come be weird with me.
Love it.
Paul, what about you?
So if you're interested in some of the things I do, paulgatter.com. I'm also working on a new thing that you guys, you both joined, building that community where we can have those times, those hallway conversations, and keep them going. So if you're interested in that, I'm still testing it out, but you can find that over on onthewaycommunity.com.
And don't forget about Creator Camp. You can find out about that, ecamm.com/camp. Paul and I and Katie will be there. Paul and I are also going to be at CEX this year, and Lou will be there as well. Lou's going to be at camp too, but we're excited about that. So we have some conferences still where you can come up to us and come up to us and say, hey, I saw you on the show, and I loved what you said, and then we will connect you with people. Like if you're like at a conference that we're at and you're like, Jeff, I've always wanted to meet Pat Flynn, I'll be like, you know what? I've always wanted to meet him too. Let's go meet him together. So we'll go and do that. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Pat Mills. We thank you, Paul Duncan, for showing up. Lou, of course, Chad Williams, all you folks who showed up. Thank you for Katie for being such a great guest today, and thank you for Ecamm for sponsoring the show. We will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.